Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the June 1st, 2015 regular meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Anderson?
Present.
Alderman Beer?
Here.
Alderman Casey?
Here.
Alderman Fontana? Here. Alderman Gurman? Here. Alderman Giannatasio?
Here.
Alderman Golden? Alderman Hardiman? Here. Alderman Kubek? Alderman Shaw? Alderman Smith? You want me to just go back to that?
Madam Secretary, Alderman Stanford and Alderman Golden would like to be excused.
Thank you. Alderman Vecchiarelli? Alderman Vitro?
Here.
Alderman Vitale? Alderman Vitale? 13 present, Mr. Chairman.
There are 13 present. We do have a quorum. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Am I ready, Mr. Chairman? My name is Jim Amon. I live at 515 Pope's Island Road in Milford, Connecticut. It's really nice to be back in this beautiful city hall and being able to address all the aldermen, which I had so many great years, 8 years with Alberta Jago and Fred Lissman. They were some of my finest memories. So I certainly want to tell you how much we appreciate your public service and what you do for the city. My voice is usually not good on any given day, but I've been up in the legislature lobbying, so I apologize if I sound a little bit more like the Godfather tonight than most other nights. I'm really not that mean of a guy as maybe my voice might sound, but I'm here for a simple request tonight. I would ask my Alderman Vecchiarelli, Alderman Fontana, to consider putting on the agenda for the next aldermanic meeting a discussion about Eli's Tavern, as we know that's downtown Milford, to discuss the patio or the discussion of wanting to build a patio at that particular facility. I think that's really all I'm here to ask for tonight, is simply put it on the agenda. They've invested well over $1 million in the state of Connecticut, in the city of Milford, to have this particular place open. It's a beautiful tavern. I've been in there several times with my family, and I think it's a great addition to the city. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all my requests, and I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name's Alberta Jago. I live at 1 Morningside Drive in Milford, and I'm just here to request that if the board takes up Mr. Amon's request to add something to the agenda tonight that's not on the agenda, that I be allowed to speak on that. And I'm asking you, Mr. Chairman, as my alderman, if you would recognize me at that time, as you told me you would.
Yes, I would.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board of Aldermen. Thank you all for allowing me to be here and speak tonight. I'm sorry, my name is Sharon Fisk, and I live at 40 Bronco Court in Milford, Connecticut. I'm here tonight. I've been on a quest to try and get sewers put into our area. I'm a homeowner on Bronco Court in Milford. I've lived here for probably 20 years. And we have a business that's located on Erna Avenue. And we currently are on septic and cesspools, all of the businesses on Erna Avenue. I attended the March 25th Sewer Commission meeting, and I submitted a petition of all of the business owners, and there were, I believe, 2 or 3 homes on that street as well at the end, that we're all looking for public sewers. And we submitted a letter and our petition to the mayor's office, and I did receive a call, which I was very grateful for, from Mayor Blake, and he instructed me, you know, that I need to go forward with different things to work on that. So I've been fervently pursuing this because it's really important for us economically to grow. I cannot expand my business. You know, the one business across the street was able to cut into the sewers on the back street on West Avenue, but those of us on Erna and the adjacent streets off of them, we just can't. Right now I'm working in trying to fix my septic system to hold the employees that I have. I have approximately 11 employees right now. We do United States government contract work. We build parts for the military. Everything we do is contracted by the government. You know, we're finding it very hard to put on the people that we need to expand our business. We purchased the 3 lots next to our building. I can't expand there unless I put another septic system in. So this is a very important project for us. I'm trying to get the other people, everybody wants this thing in the area, but everybody just doesn't show up to speak or, you know, to try and push this through. So I'm here tonight. I did speak with my alderman in my district, and he nicely called me back. We had a long talk, and I appreciated that. I just found out today that my business is in the 2nd district, so I have not spoken to the alderman in my district for the business. So anything that any kind of support that I can get from this board in helping me, I am following this as really close. I know that your May the 14th meeting the Sewer Commission was just awarded $1.7 million in Sewer Commission funding. I'm asking tonight that our street, Erna Avenue, and the businesses there be included in that funding. We've had problems with water pressure. We have had problems with drainage. We've put up with a lot of things, and we're a lot of businesses trying to employ people, provide benefits, grow the economy in a sense, put people to work. And we're doing it with less than any other of the businesses in our area. You know, we haven't addressed all the water pressure problems. Milford Fab burned down there. They had a hard time putting out the fire with the water pressure. You know, it was an old street of farmland at one time, but now it's a lot of businesses. So whatever support, whatever help you can give to me and to my colleagues on the street, and see what we can do to make us a part of this $1.7 million funding. We were told that we needed to speak, we needed to put ourselves out there. We started in February. We attended the February commission meeting. We attended the Sewer Commission meeting. We attended the one in March. And I'll continue to keep going. And whatever you can do, whatever you need to tell me I need to do to make that possible, I would really appreciate it. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thank you all for your service. I know how hard it is when you're holding other jobs and this is just a side thing for you. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mayor, for your return call. I do appreciate all that you can do. Have a good evening.
Would anybody else like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, Alderman Vecchiarelli. Agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the regular minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting held May 4th, 2015.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There was no special meeting. Under Chairman's report, I'd like to ask the Alderman to put Alderman Greta Stanford's thoughts and prayers with her for a speedy recovery. And I hope everyone has a very happy Father's Day for all the fathers out there. That's it for me. Agenda item number 6, Mayor's report and recommendations. Is there a report from the Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would just like to request your consideration action on those items listed in your agenda, 8A through 8G. And if you have any questions as the meeting progresses, I'm happy to help you find answers to those. I'd also like to point out that our next meeting is July 6th, after the 4th of July and the celebrations and the fireworks. We have with us tonight Dan Worrell, who may speak about this, but Milford is hosting its first Kick Off the Summer event on July 2nd, complete with a fireworks display over downtown Milford, over the harbor. I encourage everybody to come out and bring their blankets and picnic baskets because it's going to be a fantastic summer night.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have no new business. Moving on to Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request per the attached recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board dated May 21st, 2015 for the acquisition of a sidewalk easement at 72 Oldfield Lane and to authorize the Mayor, the Director of Public Works, the City Attorney's Office to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said acquisition.
We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached agreement with the South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority for road maintenance and resurfacing, and to authorize the Mayor, Director of Public Works, and City Attorney to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. I notice Mr. Saleen's here. I just have a question on the timing of this project in Point Beach. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi. Just in the Point Beach area, as I understand it, the city is going to take over repaving that area. Is there a time frame for that? I mean, can you go?
We're in the process. We ran into a little snag that down at the end of Richard Street. The water company milled without our permission. We asked them to stop, and I know it's a substantial inconvenience, but we're in the process of getting new catch basins installed to get it out of the road right away. And then at that point, once that's done, we will come down and finish milling and paving that area.
And I'm not putting you on the spot. Is there a month frame or 2-month frame or 6-month frame that we know?
Yeah, we're waiting right now for 3 contractors to give us pricing, and that's been the real holdup right now. This is outside DEEP's jurisdiction. We're also in the process of doing a permitting thing for the rest of the drainage projects down there and fixing the outfall pipes. Okay?
Thank you.
And
Go on.
if I may add, this is kind of Gary Wassman, the city engineer, was speaking with the water company and also with the gas company and the UI company. It's specific to this one project, but what we're looking to do is try to look at it across the whole city when there's an opportunity, when they're going to be doing milling and paving and reclamation of areas because of utility work. A lot of times it's in the best interest of the city to try to take over that project. Like they're only going to do half the road. We have the opportunity with our funds, town aid and other paving projects to do the whole road. So it really is a brand new road as opposed to half and half. And we're looking to do that across the whole city with some other utility projects, namely Woodmont Road is another area that we're going to be looking at. There's I believe it's a $10 million improvement that the UI is putting across from Burt Plains Road all the way down. But we're going to be looking to improve that area down there also, similar to what we're doing here.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Saley. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8C.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding pre-development grant under the Housing for Economic Development Growth Program Incentive Housing Zone Study.
Second. We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8E.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding cash advance for Founders Walkway Improvements Grant.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8E.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the establishment of account related to hazard mitigation program subgrants.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. I am going to ask Julie Nash, and I think your office has done a wonderful job in working with the Sandy victims. I'm just going to ask publicly if you have any time frame for the reimbursements for FEMA.
Sure. And like we have discussed, I wish I can give a solid time frame, but again, we're just a conduit for the funds, and we've heard stories in Greenwich it's 3 months, we've heard stories in other towns it's 6 months. I would hate to give you or any of the homeowners a time frame and then come back and I'm wrong. So my best answer is as fast as we can all get it through.
I thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Nash. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8F.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the request for the attached allocation transfer number 3, general maintenance golf course.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8G.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding technical waiver of bids for the clean-out of sanitary sewer pipe line from New Haven Ave back to Golf Pond Pump Station, including the wet wells.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannatasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mayor Blake. Mayor Blake, is this going under new business, this addendum?
This was an addendum to your schedule. You should have received it last Friday, or Thursday or Friday. This came up after our Wednesday aldermanic agenda setting meeting, but our Public Works Director is here to give you further explanation. This is one of those emergency cleanouts for our sewers around the Indian River project to make sure that the pump station does not fail, but there's additional explanation that we do have tonight.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, if the Public Works Director can approach the podium, please. Good evening, Mr. Saley.
Good evening.
Can you give us the background on this?
Yep. They're in the last fall. They're redoing the Indian River Interceptor, which is the sewer pipe. It's a 30-inch sewer pipe that runs from New Haven Ave down Palm Point, bound easement into Shady Side Pumping Station. During a tide event, the contractor failed to secure the pipe, and the plug that they were using went into the pipe. In turn, a lot of debris went into the pipe, and we now have to vac out the pipe section and all the way down to the pump station, and actually all the way over to West Ave. And there's not a lot of companies that do this style work, and Attorney Burcham maybe can touch base a little bit. It's a legal component, so I don't really want to talk too much about it. But the question is, there's only 2 or 3 companies that do the expertise. We were going to do a bypassing of the pump station. We're going to vac out and literally clean out this 30-inch line. And that's the process of the bid waiver.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Attorney Burcham. Mr. Burcham, is this something through this contractor's negligence that the city's going to be compensated to help pay for this emergency clean out?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Giannatasio, I am loath to comment on pending or threatened claims. I'll only say that we will be looking to the contractor for what we believe to be its responsibility for these claims. Right now, our primary issue is getting it cleaned out so that the city's system doesn't sustain any further damage. Why it's before you tonight under emergency basis is that it was brought to my attention last week after the aldermanic meeting, after your meeting, the leadership meeting, that we couldn't wait to go out to bid. We had an estimate that was, I believe, approximately $100,000, if that's correct.
That's correct.
That exceeded our the requirements for bidding. So I said, if you need to get it done, you need to come here on the aldermanic meeting and ask for a bid waiver, and that's what brings us here tonight. But to answer your question, a long-winded way, yes, we will be looking to the contractor.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Saley, is this company that's going to do the clean out, have they worked with the city of Milford?
We haven't chosen a company yet. We had 1 bid that came in. We're going to have 2 other bids come in after that. We're going to compare, make sure that the scope of the work is the same. It's a very involved, even though it seems it's a very involved project. The line is 25 feet in the ground. The wet wells and the pump stations have been compromised, and we believe also some of the pumps themselves. So right now we had a quick estimate. When that came back at the numbers that it came back, and we decided to look at, we're going to have these 2 other companies come in also.
So it sounds to me that it's more than a clean out. It could be, you mentioned pumps. The line itself could be compromised where the line would have to be repaired as well?
The line itself isn't, it's a section of pipe, or it's 2,000 linear feet of pipe. We tried to camera it. We've gone through what the contract required us to do, which is bring in the vendor or the contractor and camera it with the contractor present. Now part of the contract states that we have to go out and solicit bids to see what kind of work needs to be done. But the hard thing is we really don't know how much debris is in the pipe. We don't know how much debris is in the wet well. We know that debris got all the way to the Housatonic treatment plant, so we know we have an issue.
And what's the time frame on the corrective action once this bid is awarded?
We would hope, pending on whoever contractor, we would hope to do it in the next month. That would be our goal.
In the meantime, are we jeopardizing the environmental health and safety of the people?
Right now, we've been fortunate, but like anything, you could drive down the street and a motor could blow. You never know what might happen. We have to get in there and really do an investigation. We're going to bring some experts in. Once the pump station is bypassed, we'll pull the pumps apart, take a look at those. People that are highly qualified to do the work.
Can you just share with the board exactly when you found out about this and how?
It initially started in late fall. We didn't believe it. We initially didn't think it was as big an issue. Subsequently, when we started cameraing it, it happened that we realized that there was a bigger issue, and then we followed through the city attorney's office the proper procedures that we needed to follow.
Was the sewer commission aware of this?
Yes, they are.
Were they aware of it back in the fall?
They were aware of that there was an incident. I don't think anyone really knew the scope of the work that was involved.
And our city engineers looked at this as well?
Yes,
and
yes.
Our outside consulting?
Mr. Westcott and Mapes and Mr. Macaluso are aware of it, yes.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, just by way of clarification so the minutes read correctly, through you to Alderman Giantassio, we may have referred to it as a bid that we received. We've received an estimate, not a bid. There's been no formal bid process. What's before you tonight is a request to bypass the formal bid process because of the emergency nature of the work. We will be seeking 2 other estimates should this board approve the bid waiver tonight.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up, for aldermanic purposes, does this require a 2/3 vote, being that it's under new business, or being that it was emailed on Friday afternoon?
Mr. Giantassio?
It's considered.
It's not under new business.
So it's part of the agenda? Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Saley, for your added information on that motion. The next item on the agenda is number 9, new business. There is no new business, so we'll move on to item number 10. Moving on to budget memo transfers. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 10A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consideration of budget memo transfer number 11 and number 12, funds 10 and 12, FY15.
Motion, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Alderman Beer.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I guess to the mayor, or can you just explain what these transfers are for? Is it early in the year for a transfer?
Sure, let me flip to them. The lion's share are for Public Works. And generally we have at the end of the fiscal year a separate June meeting. Sometimes it's in July, but a separate June meeting to wrap up the year for some of these budget memo transfers. Our Public Works Director is here to get into the details, but there was one issue with our gas boy. Our gas boy is the system that tracks and doles out fuel to city vehicles, all city vehicles, as well as Board of Ed vehicles. That system is antiquated and in jeopardy of failing at this point. That's one of the requested transfers. As you know, the equipment and supply account each year is depleted, and every year, including this year, we have a big transfer. That is based in large part to the difficulty of this last winter and everything from shocks to new transmissions that are associated with how much our plow trucks got beat up, as well as other factors, but that had a big part in why there's this substantial request. Heating fuel as well. The heating fuel at places like Simon Lake were more significant than we had anticipated. As you know, since last year, that facility is a full-strength facility with a police substation, a police training center, and Boys and Girls Club there now, many hours of the day. We do get reimbursed for a portion of that building, however, for the heating costs and the utility costs from the Board of Ed. Wastewater, there's waste removal costs above and beyond what we had budgeted for. This is for the sludge and to get rid of the sludge from the wastewater treatment plant, and an additional amount in chemicals as well. So above and beyond that, our Public Works Director is here to provide additional details. The building maintenance costs for building improvements. One of the factors there is roofs. We had a couple different roof issues. One important one that we had to fix on an emergency basis was the Parsons Auditorium. Right before the big season for the auditorium, there was a leak where the fire marshal asked that we close off and fix this building. And we wanted to make sure that it was done before the high school graduations and the spring dance recitals. So that was a big part of that budget memo transfer right there that depleted those costs. And again, our Public Works Director is here for additional explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that information. You all set, Alderman Beer? Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vaccarelli, agenda item 11. Moving on to refunds.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve consideration of refunds in the amount of $9,391.55.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Under agenda item number 12, reports of standing committees. Are there any reports? Alderman Frank Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Ordinance Committee met earlier this evening to consider two ordinances. The first being an ordinance amending an ordinance establishing compensation of city officials and employees in the service of the city of Milford. This is essentially documenting the classification, pay grades, and description of the two positions created with the new budget, namely the accountant one position, or as the finance director calls it, the junior accountant position, and also the open space and natural resource agent. And again, this ordinance was designed to document and enact those two positions as part of the list of accounts for the city of Milford's pay grades and employee classification. The Ordinance Committee met and recommends it with a favorable recommendation to the full board. I'd like to present that as a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I know we talked about these two positions on infinitum during the budget hearings. And again, my views as for the accountant is putting the cart before the horse and getting technology in place before you hire so that the vendor can make some recommendations as to how to train, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The open space, we talk about the position and not the man, the position. We also talked about why, I don't know why it couldn't be absorbed in another department rather than making it a department unto itself. We know that there has been added help. We know that he's overworked. And I just see this department growing and growing and growing, where there might be an assistant, there's an intern at this point, there might be an assistant tomorrow, there might be a secretary for note taking, there might be, and it goes on and on and on. Again, for all the reasons that were stated in the ordinance committee, not only its salary, not only its bennies, but it goes on with an additional piece that we could have dealt with open space money. And for these reasons, I cannot vote for these positions. Thank you.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the members of the board. I'd just like to make everyone aware of the fact that the agendas that were sent out to us before we vote on this, I want to make sure that the distribution of the people that are on here got the notification. You have Dennis McBride, the health director. You have Rich Tomasco, the acting director of public works. And sadly enough, you have Linda Stock, the city clerk. And I've made this point over and over again. The way that we do business, last meeting, we had a property on the agenda. We had no assessed value. I keep sharing my concerns with Mayor Blake, and still no one's proofing these agendas. No one's adding the correct information, and I'm really embarrassed. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But in regards to the ordinance, you know, my position is the same. I was opposed to adding these two new positions into the budget, and more importantly, the open space manager, the position already existed and the funding was there. And we talked about the fact that the open space fund was sustainable to continue to fund that position. And we also mentioned the fact that this person has the ability to go out and realize grants, and through those grants under the vehicle, the maintenance part of the grant, that also can pay for his position. So, you know, intuitively, like I mentioned during the budget vote, it doesn't make sense. And here we are now, we're actually, you know, adding benefits to Alderman Vitale's point, the insurance, the contractual wages. For what reason? Do we feel better that the taxpayers are paying for it? I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers. It's something that it's not a critical position. It's already being addressed, and now we find out that he has a non-seasonal temp helping him. So now we're adding more money to this department, so to speak. So my position remains the same. I will not support these ordinances as proposed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? Alderman Anderson.
To the last point that was made by the minority leader through you, there are department heads who have occasion to use the services of interns during the summer. Julie Nash, our Economic and Community Development Director, being one, Steve Johnson being another. And there are interns that have worked for the law department as well. And we welcome the opportunity for young people who have an interest in a particular field to gain some practical experience. And that experience is limited to perhaps 2-3 weeks, a month, couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Anderson.
And Mr. Chairman, through you, they do not receive monetary compensation. These high school interns, they receive course credit in exchange for the experience. So it is not something that the city of Milford is paying a salary for. This is a 3-week internship that this particular intern is helping out our open space and natural resource agent in gaining some good experience.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for explaining that. Any more discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mayor Blake. Mayor Blake, that's the whole purpose, is now you're saying that the city doesn't have to pay for the non-seasonal temp where the position was created as a non-seasonal temp and the city wasn't paying for it, the taxpayer. But now we're paying for his salary, but we're not paying for his assistant. That's today. But the next step is, then you're going to tell us that he needs an assistant, a full-time assistant. So where does it end? You can't have it both ways, Mayor Blake.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Roll call vote. Madam Secretary, please.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Beer? No. Alderman Casey?
No.
Alderman Fontana? No. Alderman Gurman? No. Alderman Gennatasio?
No.
Alderman Hardeman? Yes. Alderman Kubek? Yes. Alderman Shaw? Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Vecchiarelli? Yes. Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale?
Seven yes, 6 no.
The vote was 7 yes, 6 no. Motion passes. Alderman Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Ordinance Committee met earlier this evening to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Employment Conditions and Benefits, Article 3, Unclassified Officials and Employees, Section 19-6 and 19-16 and 19-17. This ordinance is related to the earlier ordinance that just passed in that it will conform various overtime parameters, benefits, including group health, disability, and so forth, specifically for the pay grades and schedules of the open space manager. I understand from the City Attorney's Office that a portion of this regarding Schedule S, Grade 26, defining overtime, is to make this consistent with an earlier adjustment made for another position related to the fire department, the fire chief secretary. But this ordinance, again, is designed to comport the open space and natural resource manager's position with the existing schedules and grades within the city's human resource organization. I'd like to present that, Mr. Chairman, as a motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Madam Secretary, can you roll call vote, please?
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Beer? No. Alderman Casey?
No.
Alderman Fontana? No. Alderman Gurman? No. Alderman Gennatasio?
No.
Alderman Hardeman? Yes. Alderman Kubek? Yes. Alderman Shaw? Yes. Alderman Smith? Alderman Vecchiarelli? Yes. Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale? 7-6, Mr. Chairman.
The vote was 7 yes, 6 no. Motion passes. Are there any more committee reports? Seeing none, move on to agenda item number 13. Are there any reports from any special committees? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 14. Next item on the agenda is executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss 14A, consideration of settlement, Patricia McAndrew versus the City of Milford regarding 543 Plains Road. Joining us in executive session for item 14A will be the Mayor, City Attorney John Bertram, and City Assessor Dan Thomas. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session. We are back from executive session, and we are out of executive session. Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to move to approve the consideration of settlement. Patricia McAnders versus City of Milford in regards to 543 Plains Road, as discussed in executive session with the city attorney and the city assessor.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Next meeting is July 6th. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.